one that was the most interesting was Raelism, the Raelians, because just the fact that they are basically like mainstream scientists who are claiming that we were just seeded and that the story of the Bible is just a story of extraterrestrial creation. And then, hey, I mean, Richard Dawkins, he thinks religions are all wacky. Well, he could be a part of that group. Like that clip I played earlier, Richard Dawkins believes in that we were seeded. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say he believes it, but he said he wouldn't totally count out the idea that we were seeded by higher life forms. Um, and one thing talking about UFO religions and stuff. You gotta wonder if maybe this is me kind of playing devil's advocate. I think I'm pretty good at that. Is just you always wonder if they really just basically are New Age groups. It's very influenced by the Theosophical Society who latched on to aliens and UFOs to make their ideas seem more concrete, or if maybe it's just a big scam for them. But I don't really think so, because it just is way too in line with so many other occult Illuminati organizations and stuff. I think they're being deceived. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the vast majority of the people in these religions think they're doing wrong. I mean, they probably really think these entities are good angelic beings who are coming, to bring in a one world utopia. And I just think it's a huge deception. Let's see. Oh, yeah, one thing I've always noticed, one thing that runs common in all these groups is they always try to kind of mimic the Bible, Like I said, I don't call myself a Christian. I believe in intelligent design and God, and I do believe there are spiritual battles of good and evil. But it's just funny how it does seem like they mock or they mimic Christianity. I mean, these ascended masters they talk about, they say basically are Jesus. They have the quote Christ consciousness is what they call it. And one thing, and then actually bringing up Christianity, one thing I think another way that these UFO saviors, these ascended masters, is being used is similar to the idea of the rapture that a lot of Christians believe in. You have a lot of these people sitting around saying that they're going to be zapped up, as soon as stuff starts getting really bad. So they just sit around idly by. I don't have to worry, as society crumbles around them. Not getting prepared because they think they're just going to be taken away. That's kind of similar with the New Age UFO religions. They think these doesn't matter how bad things get because they're just going to be zapped up into a spaceship. And yeah, it's just it's all very similar. That's and that in itself, the idea of a rapture could just very easily be used by a corrupt government to keep people complacent even more so than they already are. And UFO, and the thing with UFO channeling is I don't know how much of it is genuine, but it is interesting how they just spout very similar ideas to the New World Order elite, this whole idea of one world government. And then another point I want to make. Sorry, I'm just kind of going off random notes here. I know it's all kind of jumbled up, but I just want to get these things in before the show ends. But another point I want to make is Raelism. I think that's how you pronounce it. I know they're called Raelians, or I believe they are. But is how it seems like a lot of these groups, especially Raelism, sorry, but it seems like a lot of these groups are all about merging science and spirituality. And in that sense, then basically getting rid of religion, it'd just be like one and the same. So all the teachings in the Bible are still valid, and things like that. And Jesus was a great teacher, but he wasn't really heavenly. He was just advanced extraterrestrial. Things like that, or Buddha, or whichever religious figure that they claim to be which are extraterrestrials, which the Theosophical Society said were just one of the many ascended masters, which. It's just so funny to me how the Theosophical Society, talks about ascended masters, and very similarly to like extraterrestrials, and then sure enough, we have sometime later these UFO religions start picking up on the same ideas of theosophy, but instead of saying that they're ascended masters, they just say they're extraterrestrials. It's just all so linked together. This is a huge topic. This is kind of going into like these old kind of obscure. Religions are all, they're all basically, coming from the same, there's so many different names for these religions, but a lot of them are just espousing the same doctrine, just like the clip I played earlier. They all have that kind of ideology of, man can become God. That's what it's all about for a lot of the spirituality, and I believe that to be a lie, in my opinion. And that idea actually has a lot of traction, even within the truth movement and stuff. You'd be surprised. I'm sure a lot of you already know that, though. I don't have to say that to a lot of you. Let me just, for fun, let me head into the chat room and see what you guys are talking about. Yes, they misconstrued 2012 badly. Everyone's truth were true. For those of you listening in the archives, yeah, I'm just kind of seeing what people are talking about. Zeitgeist Movement / One World Galactus Federation. Well, yeah, I mean, I know about the Zeitgeist Movement. Yeah, that's a huge one right there. The Galactus Federation, is that the Galactic Federation of Light? I know that's all linked in with all this, too. But yeah, the Zeitgeist Movement is kind of funny. Yeah, they claim to be, like atheists, but then they are espousing things about going into the age of Aquarius. They say they're atheists, but then they're saying things that are very similar to the Theosophical Society. And they also, when you look at the bibliography of Zeitgeist, they have, I believe, Blavatsky's in there, along with some Freemasons, and very interesting characters, to say the least. And, for a movement that supposedly is against the New World Order. I'm not going to try to hide around the fact I am not associated. I do not like the Zeitgeist Movement. I do not support it. I do not like the Venus Project. I think all it is the New World Order shaped up in a nice little pretty package, and it's a deception. And that's what I'm all about. Is cliche as it sounds, I know everyone says this, is we all want the truth, and that is ultimately what I want. So it's just hard to know when you're being deceived in what really is true. But I mean, that is ultimately all of our pursuits, I think, is just the ultimate truth. And yeah, Bob from Cincinnati saying Zeitgeist is theosophy. And theosophy, I would say, and I know not everyone will agree with me on this, but if you look at some of the old, I can't remember who exactly the quote was by, but also Freemasonry is very, very similar to theosophy, And just one second. Oh yeah, sorry, 1 second. We have a few minutes. Jeff wants to cut in. Jeff, go ahead. You're good to go. Jeff, are you there? All right, we should have Jeff in a second. I guess Jeff wanted to...
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, cut me off if I don't want to take any of your time off, but so cut me off anytime, Ed, serious. But a couple of things. You were talking about them wanting to merge science and spirituality. Yeah, that's a great point. See, what they want to do is there's this fake science out there that all the culture thinks is real science, and then there's this fake religion out there that all the culture thinks is real religion. So they want to take these two fake things and merge them together, and what you get is pure nihilism. I mean, it's almost funny. I mean, like you pointed out so well, Ed, and that's what PrisonPlanet.com picked up, that article that you did that was on antimatterradio.com, about how the new Illuminati spirituality is all about making sure you know that you're so meaningless and pointless and insignificant and nothing that you're just, who cares about anything? You lose all hope, because all you are is just atoms. And the academics don't even talk about consciousness. A lot of them say it doesn't even exist, and they just ignore all the real aspects of the cosmos, and then talk about this nihilistic philosophy in science and religion. And so they want to merge those two together, and it's just a perfect postmodernist New World Order project. I hope I'm not explaining this too fast, but it's just completely insane, the whole thing. And it still just boggles my mind that billions of people around the planet can actually think that what we call religion and what we call science these days are really the two. It's just staggering. Do you have anything back on that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just exactly like you said. Just trying just to by merging science and religion, they'd ultimately get rid of religion. Was kind of what I was getting at. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, they get rid of soul.
Yep.
Our souls, pretty much. They just build up our ego to an incredible degree and make us just be filled with, like you pointed out in that article, called I think it was called the way to fight the New World Order starts with yourself, on antimatterradio.com. And that's basically just how, if we believe everything they say in their science and their religion, nothing means anything, but in fact the whole universe is just charged and fueled with meaning. And it's not just, I don't just say that because, God created the universe, so therefore it has to be charged. And and you'll feel the meaning. I mean, it's an empirical statement. You can. I mean, we've done so many shows on antimatter radio about all the different scientific points that show that the cosmos is just a big, huge, buzzing, vibrating domain of meaning and the representation of God everywhere. And but we're supposed to follow the academics and think that doesn't. I mean, they just ignore all the evidence for that. So, but then a couple other things. Did you want to say anything else? I don't want to take up your time if you.
Oh no, this is fine. This is great. Go ahead.
Okay. And one other thing I was going to say is that when I was still teaching, I used to talk about. I had a whole section. I taught intro to religion at Western Michigan University when I was still teaching there, and I had a whole section of the class on UFO religions, and I would talk a little bit about all the whacked out the Raelians and stuff like you were saying, and Heaven's Gate and all that. But then I would also have a section about ancient cave art, and I describe that as UFO religions. And it's kind of hard to tell what these. Okay, so worldwide, as all the listeners know, are these cave paintings or ancient paintings from Australian Aborigines and so forth, which have things that look just like aliens and UFOs and so forth in them. So it's kind of hard to interpret exactly what those mean, how they fit into history, and a lot because we don't know so little about history. The conspiratorial view, of course, like you were saying, is really the only way to get any real history, and even that is we've got a lot of work to do on that. But it does seem to be that there could be another side to the whole UFO religions thing as well, and it could be the theosophical view or the New World Order view is we're supposed to think that aliens are the saviors. It could have just been the case that there were just visitors in the past, and there was really no big deal about it. They didn't create humans. They did a whole show on UFO religions way back early this year, and I just posed the view that really what the extraterrestrial, there could be a group of extraterrestrials out there that are really they're not negative in any way. They didn't have anything to do with human creation or anything, but they just visit from time to time, and they were recorded in a lot of our primitive, arts and some of the primitive religions and so forth. But they don't have anything to do with, what we're supposed to believe with, like the stupid ascended masters philosophy, which I did a whole show on that if you remember. So you can just tear that idea apart all day. So. I don't know. So what do you think about that? Like two views of UFO religions. Like there's the one the New World Order wants us to believe in, which is that it's those are the saviors, those are the gods, those are the creators. We're supposed to think that's the Elohim and so forth. But then there could be another group that's just out there in the galaxy doing their thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'd have to differentiate between extraterrestrials versus these interdimensional beings, which I think could vary. A lot of them, at least from personal experience with sleep paralysis and studying the accounts, could just be pure demonic, dark, ecstatic beings. But that's. I guess that's the major difference. Is I don't really think a lot of them actually are extraterrestrials. But no, that'd be very interesting to say if this God created the universe, why if he created extraterrestrials, I wouldn't say they're automatically bad or part of the New World Order. But yeah.
Yeah, because some of the work out there shows that some of the extraterrestrials out in the galaxy have created golden ratio structures in some of their, like Paul Laviolette describes in Decoding the Message of the Pulsars. So that would be interesting. I know the New World Order uses golden ratios a little bit, but they only use it for nefarious purposes because golden ratio is the prime signature of the Creator's intelligent design cosmos. But anyway, I know you're
90
time, and I'm going to your time, man.
Yeah,
no,
thanks, man. Yeah, those great words you put in there. Actually, all those things we could talk about for hours if we needed to. But let me just finish with saying I need to make sure I throw this in here. My next show is going to be with Bob from Cincinnati. The title is Money is New World Order Sorcery, and it's going to be on Thursday the 21st at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Bob's in the chat room. And if you've listened to past episodes of the show, Bob calls in and
60 seconds.
And Bob calls in and he's that guy with all the energy and all the great stuff to say. So that's Bob from Cincinnati. So yeah, make sure to come back to the website. And for those of you, if you're here, you probably know the website, but let me throw it out there just because it's about to be over. www.blogtalkradio.com/antimatterzone, all one word, blogtalkradio.com/antimatterzone. I think that'll do it for today. Thanks for the caller. Thanks, Jeff, for the words you put in there. Those were great. Make sure to keep checking out Black Helicopter Radio. I'll be posting this on blackhelicopterradio.com. You all have a very, very good evening. count out the idea that we were seeded by higher life forms. One thing talking about UFO religions and stuff. You gotta wonder if maybe this is me kind of playing devil's advocate. I think I'm pretty good at that. Is just you always wonder if they really just basically are New Age groups. It's very influenced by the Theosophical Society who latched on to aliens and UFOs. Let's see. Oh yeah, one thing I've always noticed, one thing that runs common in all these groups is they always try to kind of mimic the Bible. Like I said, I don't call myself a Christian. I believe in intelligent design and God, and I do believe there are spiritual battles of good and evil. But it's just funny how it does seem like they mock or they mimic Christianity. I mean, make their ideas seem more concrete, or if maybe it's just a big scam for them. But I don't really think so, because it just is way too in line with so many other occult Illuminati organizations and stuff. I think they're being deceived. Don't get me wrong. I don't think the vast majority of the people in these religions think they're doing wrong. I mean, they probably really think these entities are good angelic beings who are coming, to bring in a one-world utopia. And I just think it's a huge deception. These ascended masters they talk about, they say basically are Jesus. They have the quote Christ consciousness is what they call it. And one thing, and then actually bringing up Christianity, one thing I think another way that these UFO saviors, these ascended masters, is being used is similar to the idea of the rapture that a lot of Christians believe in. You have a lot of these people sitting around saying that they're going to be zapped up, as soon as stuff starts getting really bad. One that was the most interesting was Raelism, the Raelians, because just the fact that they are basically like mainstream scientists who are claiming that, we were just seeded and that the story of the Bible is just a story of extraterrestrial creation. And then, hey, I mean, Richard Dawkins, he thinks religions are all wacky. Well, he could be a part of that group. Like that clip I played earlier, Richard Dawkins believes in that we were seeded. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say he believes it, but he said he wouldn't totally